friends, welcome back again today. We are doing another super mega massive large family freezer cooking day. This is actually one of two big freezer cooking days that we are doing. That's right, we have taken our Friday and we are taking tomorrow, our Saturday, and we are getting our freezer all stocked up with all kinds of meals for the coming weeks and months. Sometimes we have freezer meals that we make that very well could be in our freezer for 12 weeks or so. Usually things aren't here too much longer than that. Yes, I might have a pan of lasagna from 6 months ago or whatever as an example sometimes, but generally we roll through things. As another example, this fall we cooked up a bunch of lasagnas and baked ziti and all kinds of good things, and those saved our dinner life many times in December and January and February, but we're all out of those now. We do have some slow cooker freezer meals in our freezer, but besides that, no breakfast freezer meals, no other like 9x13 pan type easy freezer meals, no lunch freezer meals, no snack freezer meals. So we need to do a big stocking up. And if you are new here, we are a family of 11. I know things are complicated now because we do have our oldest son has moved away. He's married, he's a dad. We do still have 8 kids at home, ages 2, 5, 8. I gotta close my eyes while I do it. 10, 12, 14, 16, 19, and some birthdays coming up. But I like it when we get everyone on, like everyone has an odd number birthday or everyone has an even number birthday. Helps me with counting and keeping everything straight. And then of course we also have my husband, myself, and my mama here most of the time. We work from home, we school from home. We do most of our meals from home. I'll say 90 to 95%. Sure, we eat out once in a while, but with all these different things that we juggle, having meals and meal components ready to go in the freezer sure is welcome. And new viewers always want to know if all we eat is freezer meals. No, of course, all we eat is not freezer meals. But let me tell you, when you have those real life emergencies, real life situations, the unexpected that comes, when I have a whole bunch of freezer meals, if there was a week where we had to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner from the freezer, I am so thankful I have it ready to go. We have had those kind of unexpected emergencies in our family over the years, and let me tell you, I'm thankful to have my freezer stocked with ready to go meals during those times. However, how things usually work out for us is, let's say out of a 7 dinner week, right? We could end up having 3 or 4 of those meals be freezer meals, and then the breakfast, it could, same average, you know, 3 or 4 breakfasts could end up being breakfast freezer meals. Now when I cook a lot. I am broken, as I like to say, or I have this big batch cooking muscle that I have developed for over 2 decades, where even when we were a family of 4 and a family of 5, I was full-time working as a charge nurse then. I always cooked enough to get us several meals every time I cooked, and I still do that today. So if we have a week where we are having 3 or 4 dinners that our past selves made, that our future selves are thankful for, then there will be another meal most likely that I have big batch cooked, and that will be our fresh meal for the week. So for many years I've been developing my big batch freezer meal guides. Today we are cooking up large family freezer meals, pack 13, which focuses on lunches. Of course, these meals do not have to be for lunches. It was the way that I categorized it to help busy moms know that if they packed up this big batch freezer cooking guide, that it would give them easy lunches. Lots of homeschool moms, busy moms follow my freezer cooking guides, and I just wanted them to know this one in particular. We have pepperoni pizza pockets, we have ham and cheese pocket. There's a couple different quesadillas for the freezer and also taquitos for the freezer. There's homemade granola bars for the freezer. You know, I've been doing big batch freezer sandwiches for years. This particular guide has the homemade Uncrustables that we're going to use our little sandwich crimper on. And so here we're gonna cook up the black bean and beef quesadillas, pepperoni pockets, Baked Chicken Taquitos, homemade Poptarts, granola bars, chicken fajita quesadillas, cheesy ham pockets, pepperoni muffins, beef and bean taquitos, and homemade Uncrustables. I feel like I missed one. Did I say pepperoni pizza muffins? If I didn't, we're gonna also get those done. Now, while I got some office work done for about an hour, hour and a half, I have my 12, 14, and 16-year-old available to help me today, and they already got big batch cooking for us. So this is all the pans of the ham and cheese pockets that my 12-year-old put together, and we are gonna run these through the oven now and get them cooked up. Also already cooked and prepped is the chicken that we need for today. And then we have these beautiful pepperoni pockets that are in the works being cooked up. And then we got our table full of goodies. Here are, this is 8 loaves of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and we are going to use this little sandwich sealer to make these homemade Uncrustables. And whenever they made these, look at this, they used our homemade strawberry jam. Looks like they used, we got, this jar is almost done, and then a full jar over here. Not homemade peanut butter, but hey, look at our baby steps. Not homemade bread, but that's okay. Great value bread works too. And now you don't have to make these Uncrustables. We're gonna do it this way today because it's what I have in the guide, and it is an option, and it's certainly cheaper than buying Uncrustables. I will say that when I was in the hospital for my kidney stuff a lot in 2021, I put in a couple different Walmart orders because I wasn't as stocked up in my freezers then as I wanted to be, and I just bought regular old store-bought Uncrustables, and they were super helpful. If that's what you have to do, please order yourself some Uncrustables. But in this case, we're gonna go ahead and make them. Now, we have made these sandwiches and left the crust on, and my kids have eaten the crust. We've also never gotten a soggy sandwich from the freezer. I know people will ask me that. We usually use a grain bread of some sort. Now, white bread might break down more. You might end up with more soggy sandwiches with that if you're freezing them, defrosting them, and then eating them. We are going to take all these crusts and just divide them. Like, our pigs are gonna get half and our chickens are gonna get half, and it is just gonna be a happy day for them. So on the big batch cooking guide in the pack, we need to cook and shred the chicken, which we've done. Next, it's cook the 12 to 14 pounds of ground beef and add the taco seasonings per personal preference. That's the next thing we're gonna do now because that's required, that taco meat in this quesadillas here, also in these ground beef and bean taquitos. And I'm also going to go ahead and start getting these ham and cheese pockets through the oven. I'm going to get this warming up for us. And it's raining here in Virginia. You know, we've had many days feeling like summer. Today it's not. Today's not. Today it's cold and rainy. So back in a long sleeve shirt. Okay, and we'll just get both ovens going, and then once I get those in here, we'll get cooking the ground beef and doing our taco meat. Let's see if they'll close like that. Yeah. And I know I haven't really let these preheat for long enough, but we got lots of things we need to run through the ovens. So these are 4.5 pound packs. So we'll be doing about 13.5 pounds of ground beef. Okay. Now, you know I have ground beef that we have canned. I don't have any more loose ground beef to do these cooking projects with. So this is just Walmart ground beef. God bless it. All right, so we got our ground beef a-going in this big pan here. I'm gonna turn my heat up a little bit. Meat masher in full force. So we will just big batch cook this up. I have a happy helper removing the crust from the Uncrustables. And someone else is taking a little stretch break. And then my other helper will be back in to work on the pizza pockets. It's nice when lots of folks are available. You know, everybody's busy and has activities and such, so it does not always work out that way. But we will take it this weekend. And so now I am just continuing to cook up this meat and stir it. I did find my meat masher. I am also filming on my phone, true multitasking mama, but we are getting all of this ground beef cooked up in the 17-inch Lodge cast iron pan, and also the little pizza pockets are coming out. Those turned out delightful, and I'm setting them on various cutting boards to cool. Alrighty, so most of our ham and cheese pockets have run through. We have the pepperoni pizza pockets. Will you set the timer for me for 10 minutes for these? See, aren't these precious? So this ground beef just has a few more pink spots in it that I see. And we will drain this and add our taco seasoning. Here's how many of our Uncrustables turned out, and I just had the kids pack them back in the bread bags. We will set them out to defrost and use them for many lunches to come. Actually, I don't think my bread bag idea is going to work for these Uncrustables. I've never frozen Uncrustables in a bread bag. We have frozen whole sandwiches in a bread bag, but just the way that these are taking up space in the bag. So I'm thinking here, we might flash freeze these and then we could stack them like in the gallon freezer bags. I have done, like I said, whole sandwiches, but the way that these are just stacked together, Mama's got to do something different here. So I am going to tweak this idea a bit. Alrighty, and check. Amazing. So we're letting these cool now. We have other assembly line situations happening. And then with these, I decided we're just wrapping them individually and putting them in a gallon bag. And so what I would do is take 2 of these out if I needed Uncrustables for the next day. Okay, so I drained my ground beef in my little Jamerrill ground beef draining system where I put my colander in another bowl there. We're going to do our taco seasoning on this. It's so much taco seasoning per each pound of meat, and since I was doing almost 15 pounds of meat, I put it all in there along with some water to let it simmer. And I am going to add a little bit more water, and here I am also just doing some cleanup as we go. I am pouring all of that hamburger grease in for my scrap bucket because my critters that eat scraps will not mind that. And I am using my Dawn Power Wash there to clean out my bowl. So these beautiful pepperoni pockets have cooled now, so we're going to wrap these for the freezer and for future lunches as well. To have a mama lunch break, and we had a little extra of that taco meat, so I put, this is probably 3 or so cups of the mixed greens, probably 2 cups of the taco meat, and then the chips, that's a bag of, oh, what are they? They're the protein, the Quest chips, the protein chips, and this is like a chili lime flavor, and then a little dollop of sour cream and some buffalo chicken sauce drizzled over this. So I'm going to sit and do some planning and eat this, shove this in my face. I have one kiddo here who's just getting going on the pizza muffins, another one who's finishing up the last of the pepperoni pockets, one that was wrapping up the little individual Uncrustables. They've gone to do something else real quick. We still have a lot more to cook, but I feel like having all these helpers this morning has really helped make great progress. Alrighty, so we had to do some adjustment on our math with the pepperoni pizza muffins. I had a pre-made baking mix I had just planned for us to use for speed, and we didn't have as much of it as I thought. So I just cut things down a bit. And then while I was eating my lunch, I had someone filling these cups. I thought they were too full, and I told them to take a little bit back out of the bowl. I'm just being a, what is it, a backseat driver? But anyway, now that I'm over here, I see this last little bit of the mix. We can fit in these cups, that'll be okay. So it looks like we're getting 5 dozen, which if I don't freeze them, they'll be gone in 2 days. So I will definitely get these in the freezer. This is also the last of our little mini pepperonis went in these. We use the other ones in the pepperoni pockets. We currently have homemade Poptarts with our homemade home-canned strawberry jam going down. Look at us doing things, but I have to get back on my list now. And now I am just setting up a station for one of my happy teen helpers to start wrapping up these pepperoni pockets and ham and cheese pockets here in a few minutes when everything is done cooling off. And then whenever we actually need these lunch freezer meals, we set them out from the freezer to the refrigerator to defrost, and we just warm in the microwave. So here's how the pepperoni pizza muffins turned out. Again, these have mozzarella in them, they have pizza sauce, they have the little mini pepperonis, and then here, aren't these precious? These are the little homemade Poptarts. I almost said Hot Pockets, but homemade Poptarts. We have more of these coming. They're looking lovely, and we're gonna do an icing and sprinkles on these as well. And actually, famous last words, but those are my favorite. I have some younger kiddos that are hungry, and I just messaged Travis and said, it's a rainy day too, it's not cooperating, but I just asked him to come out here with them while they eat, and I'm gonna just throw some pizza muffins at them, and that's gonna be that. But hey, look, we meal prep. Alrighty, so here are the quick little throw together lunch plates for my 4 younger folks. We've got some apples and some grapes, and then of course some of these pepperoni pizza muffins. Oh boy, I got your plate ready. And now I am just going through and labeling all our bags for the freezer. So here is our super mega massive pile of what I'm just calling our lunch pockets. I did not even say which ones are the pepperonis and which ones are the ham or cheese. I think they're all mixed up, and that will be part of the little, it'll be our little Easter egg hunt or fun surprises with the lunch pockets. And now I'm gonna bag up all of those pepperoni pizza muffins. And so here is the beautiful, beautiful process that is going down to make our homemade Pop-Tarts. Now, yes, it's just like a little artist, isn't it? You can, in following the Big Batch Cooking Guide and the homemade Pop-Tart recipe, you can certainly make a homemade pie crust. No problem there. Go ahead and do that. You can also use the pre-made pie crust from the store. And what she is doing there is she is measuring with a little napkin. She wanted me to be sure to tell you she measured with a napkin because she was trying to get them all the same size. Now, Mama here, I would not be that precise, but I absolutely love different people's gifts and visions, and she just made these so absolutely beautiful. I just love her little finger there making it so beautiful. So she is using our homemade strawberry jam as these quote Pop-Tart filling. And she also, in some of them, uses our homemade blackberry jam. So you can totally go all homemade in this. You can also use store-bought jam if you would like. And she is putting them on the pans, and then we are going to work those through the ovens as well. And she'll decorate them coming up, and they're just they're a big fun thing around here. Now I am going through and I am making my bags, labeling those for the pizza muffins, because we're going to also put those in these bags coming up as well. And those will be great. I mean, fantastic. You got a homeschool field trip coming. You got a busy day where you don't have leftovers from dinner the night before for lunch. Fine with me. We will just pull out, as an example, 2 bags of these pizza muffins, cut up some green apples, and there you go. Lunch is done. And this is also easy for my kids to pull out of the fridge and make lunch plates while I'm reading, because my core skill as a homeschool mom, I don't do everything right, that's for sure, but I am a read aloud mom. I can read aloud, and I do read aloud to my kids for hours most afternoons. At the bare minimum, it's an hour, but 2.5 to 3 hours. We just love it. We soak it in, and so this is easy lunches that my kids can grab and eat while I am reading to them. Now we're going to stick these lovelies in the oven. We have the other pan of them cooling. And now we're going to get the rest of these pizza muffins. I'm continuing to get them bagged up here, and I'm still going with my labeling. I do love to have a variety of muffins in the freezer. I don't always have a variety, but if I can get breakfast style muffins, those almond tea time muffins, we love those. Get some dessert muffins, also the corn dog muffins. So, well, I have 2 big batch cooking guides for you called Mega Muffins that are available over at my shop. And I love cooking up all of one of those packs. I have videos on there where I've done that before, or just cooking up 3 to 5 of those recipes at a time. But you do, when I do them, I do up to 4 dozen of each type. And so I do stick about 6 of these pizza muffins in the refrigerator for any kid that might want to grab one. But I hurried and got the rest in the freezer because, again, they would have been gone already. And so here I am just draining out my beans, because we're going to use a spoonful of beans coming up in these beef and bean quesadillas that we are doing. And so I'm just checking in on everything before I get going with these quesadillas. I have to get my workstation set up. So I'm just thinking through exactly where I'm going to put things, how I'm going to set them up. And I was also remembering my sheet pan quesadilla making skills, and the fact that we had so many sheet pans going in the oven at that time between the Poptarts and the ham and cheese and the Pepperoni Pizza Pockets, that those sheet pans needed to be washed because Mama was going to use a whole lot of sheet pans coming up. So all I do is I take the tortillas and I'm folding them, and they fold easily, and I spray just a little oil there on the pan, and I fold them in half. And now I'm going to open them back up, now that I know how many I can get on each pan. And into each, I'm going to do them 2 at a time. Into each quesadilla, I do a little bit sprinkle of cheese, and then a few spoonfuls of our taco meat, and a spoonful of the black beans. And there I just move my can, because again, I'm getting my workstation right. A little bit more cheese, and then I fold them over. And then again, we're going to do a little sprinkle of cheese. Do it with me, friends. Little spoonfuls of the taco meat, and then a spoonful of the black beans. And then we're going to put some more cheese on top of both, and we are going to fold them over yet again. We are going to do several variations of sheet pan quesadillas. Really, for your quesadillas, again, the sheet pans are so helpful because you can do big batch cooking and do many at one time. So you can see what proteins you have, what cheese you have, what kind of fillings. I mean, you might want to put a little sour cream inside the quesadilla, or you might want to put a little salsa or some other toppings. These are very simple and, again, very popular with the kiddos. And these work great for doing a big batch up front and then freezing them and then putting them in the microwave later when they're defrosted, when you just need to warm them through for lunches. But we are going to finish this sheet pan up, and then I think I can get 2 more tortillas on this now that I have everything made and scooched back. And then I'm going to spray some olive oil on top of these tortillas. My directions in the Big Batch Freezer Meals Guide talks about doing the brushed butter. You can do that also. This was just easier for me on this day. So I'm going to just spray some olive oil on top, and then I put another sheet pan on top of these quesadillas. I just absolutely love big batch cooking and sheet pan cooking, and I love them both together. Alrighty, friends. We've had some toddler monster truck watching action going on and other good fun in the kitchen. But this pan of beef and bean quesadillas are ready to go. These are sheet pan quesadillas. Just love it when we get the sheet pans out for various things. So what I'm going to do is put another sheet pan on top of these. And I'm putting this in the oven for about 15 minutes. And then we'll check on it, pull the top pan off, and then leave it in the oven for another 5 to 8 minutes. From there, we'll eyeball it. And now I'm going to get another batch of sheet pan quesadillas going, and I am using parchment paper now. Sometimes I have to make something once or twice and then I pull all my systems together. So again, we are doing our layers of cheese, our layers of taco meat, and our simple black beans. And you can go as easy and store-bought, or you can go very much homemade with all of this. With all of these big batch freezer meals that I am making, you can make homemade tortillas. You can make homemade cheese. You can use grass-fed organic ground beef. You can use beef from your own cow that you've raised or beef that you've bought from a local farmer. You can also use your own black beans that you bought in bulk from Azure and you home canned. So if you want to go one way or the other, it's totally fine. You can use the same exact recipe, and you can go halfway. You can use store-bought tortillas, store-bought cheese, grass-fed organic ground beef, home-canned black beans, and store-bought tortillas. You can also use organic tortillas that you can buy from Azure or Trader Joe's. Pretty soon coming up, spoiler, the Trim Healthy Mama plan, which I'm not their spokesperson and it's not my plan, but I do have times where I talk about it more often than others, and people get thinking, Jamerrill, why are you talking about this? But people also ask me how I do my meals and what I particularly eat. And so this is some variations that I do for myself and anyone else who would like it, who might have some preferences about the tortillas. But I would have these, and I would have them in the S meal category. Again, if that doesn't mean anything to you, that is just fine, because I can have a little splash of beans. I'm not too hung up on that, with it being an S meal. And then of course with an E meal, to make these an E meal, I just would not have had this cheese on here, and I would have used a low-fat meat or have rinsed my meat, because E meals are medium healthy carbs and lower fat, and the S meals are moderate fat and low in the healthy carbs. And you cycle through back and forth like that. So there you go. I'm talking about this because I'm prepping these for myself, and this is why I'm doing it. And I am almost done with this pan, and then we will get these in the oven also. I have so many different timers going on my watch. So here's our pan that's getting ready to go in, and then I just took the top off of those. And then these are cooled. I'm gonna get them stacked up and we'll get them wrapped and loaded for the freezer. And this is just one where, oops, the insides fell out. And I do take the second sheet pan off the last 5 minutes or so and go from there. And here I'm continuing on doing yet another round of the low carb mission wrap quesadillas. We are also going to use this taco meat that we prepped ahead for taquitos coming up as well. So here is a nice large bowl of homemade icing, and here is our nice beautiful pile of homemade Pop-Tarts. We do have some more on the counter that are cooling, but she is going to drizzle these in icing and put some sprinkles on them too, and they are so lovely. And so we have the icing on all of them, and then she put sprinkles on top. And now I am going ahead and I am packing up this ground beef. We are going to continue on wrapping up some other projects. At this point I decided we're going to do our taquitos the following morning, because if you see there, I'm stretching my neck. My back is actually hurting me, which is silly. It has not hurt me in a while, so let's talk about my back and my neck. But I realized in the middle of this big batch cooking that I was not wearing my supportive shoes and I was not standing on one of those anti-fatigue mats. So I decide to just be gentle on myself. It takes time after this big cooking to even clean up the kitchen and do all that's required with that. It takes time to wrap up the food and get the food put away. So it was about, I believe, about 9 o'clock or so about this point. And if we would have kept cooking until, say, 11, well, then we're cleaning up till 12:30 or 1. So I'm deciding, okay, cooking is actually done. There's more coming up, though, in a few minutes in video time. But now we just need to take some time to wrap things up. Those quesadillas have been cooling on the oven. And I decide that we just need time to get these packaged up and to go through and to do a kitchen cleanup. And we will continue on the next day. But here's how the party of Pop-Tarts worked out. You can do sprinkles, not do sprinkles, do homemade icing, not do homemade icing. And with these, we will not actually put these in the toaster. For those who want those warmed, we will just warm them in the microwave. Here's all of our quesadillas wrapped up. We just wrapped each one in some parchment paper and then put them in the gallon bags from there. Well, happy new day. We are finishing up some of our massive mega lunch freezer cooking that we were working on yesterday afternoon and yesterday evening. We have some packing up that needs done today, and I still have 2 more taquito recipes and 1 more quesadilla recipe that I need to get done this morning also, but everything is prepped for that, so that's half the battle. So here's our little fun homemade Pop-Tarts, breakfast pastries, whatever you want to call them, that were done last night. Now, we did our own version of flash freezing them. They just froze individually last night. And then this morning, we are wrapping them up and getting them packed in another bag. And some of the kids had these this morning because, I mean, fun, hello. And they either ate them cold, not heated up, or they put them in the microwave for about 10 to 15 seconds to warm them. We wouldn't actually put these in the toasters. Okay, so these are the homemade Pop-Tarts that are making it into the freezer. There's been several that have been loved this morning, so we got to get them in the freezer while we still can. Okay, so reviewing yesterday what we got done, we got the beef and bean quesadillas done, we did the pepperoni pizza pockets, we got Pop-Tarts done, cheesy ham pockets, pepperoni pizza muffins, and the homemade Uncrustables. So this morning we are going to go through doing the beef and bean taquitos. Now, I do have a helper right now that is adding, this calls for 4 16-ounce cans of refried beans in the meat. We're going to add some other things, but while I work on another project, they're at least going to get the meat going, the beans in that meat. And then we're going to do the chicken fajita quesadillas only. I'm making this another level easier on myself right now. I did not cook the chicken yesterday when I prepped it with the taco seasoning, and I don't have bell peppers chopped. Of course I have bell peppers freeze dried, and I didn't do anything with onions either. But I know that chicken and cheese quesadillas are delicious and will be eaten just the same, so I'm going to make it even simpler. Not that it was too difficult. We could have chopped peppers and onions. You can chop peppers, onions, add your taco seasoning, but I'm just thinking today, because we're gonna roll into another project around here for another video, chicken and cheese quesadillas it is, okay? And then right now I'm getting the creamy chicken taquitos going. And so this is 12 cups shredded cooked chicken, 4 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, 2 cups salsa verde. We've got our tortillas. We're gonna also add in some cheese. And so here we've got the refried beans going in the taco meat. You'll probably need a spoon for that, sweetie. It's not gonna come out willingly. But we're gonna add some salsa and other things to that here in a few minutes. And then we made a bunch of Pop-Tarts, but it was such a fun thing. There's some more Pop-Tarts going down. Also, last evening she was using a napkin to just help measure and mark the size for each one, but aren't they're so pretty. Alrighty, so gonna work with this chicken now. It's cold. We cooked it yesterday. Big batch cooked it, but then got it in the refrigerator. That's okay. It'll still work. I just have to mangle it here for a few minutes. We also have a birthday cake being made in here right now. We are having a family birthday party tomorrow after church. That has nothing to do with breakfast or lunch freezer meals. We actually have meat set out that's defrosted that we're gonna grill for that. Travis is grilling steak from our whole cow, yay. And then we're doing chicken. I'm gonna roast chicken in the oven. We're also gonna do our roasted potatoes. We're getting ready to do a big batch breakfast freezer meal cooking video also. And so it's another thing going on is we have a few prep things. I have my 12-year-old is getting bananas defrosted because we're doing some banana muffins and other things. Multiple projects are going on in this kitchen besides me peeling this chicken. Also, so tomorrow's birthday party, we will do roasted potatoes and we will probably do some deviled eggs too. So it'll just be a big family birthday party lunch with, I believe, 14 or so. And that'll be good. So we got a whole lot done yesterday, and I knew that our choice, always the choice. Do we stay up late and get it done? But you know what I did wrong yesterday, and I am doing it right now. Because you all have been with me as I've tried to hold my back and my neck together. I did all that standing and cooking yesterday, and I did not have good supportive shoes on, because you know I'm a grandma, I gotta think of those things. I didn't have good supportive shoes, and I was not standing on these anti-fatigue mats. So by like 8:30 or 9 last night, my back and my neck hurt, and I had to go lay down and ice them. So I'm going to do this recipe and then wash my hands, and we are going to remedy that, because when I wear my shoes and when I stand on my mat, things go much better. But that's why we cut it last evening, and then my happy helpers here cleaned up and such while I iced. So much appreciated. And like I said, everybody loved the Poptarts this morning. And so now I'm giving further kitchen direction and big batch cooking direction to my small army of people here. And I am continuing just to shred this chicken with my hands. If you want to get one more thing messy, which very well is worth it, you can get out your mixer. And so here we are working on making everything for our chicken taquitos. And I am putting in our salsa verde. I am going all in with my messy hands. Also, we have our shredded chicken. It was 4 packages of softened cream cheese. And I'm also having one of my kiddos take pictures of me mixing all of this up, because I'll need those pictures for whenever I share more about these freezer meals, helping everybody out. But what I was saying to you is that you can also use your hand mixer if you would like to shred up your chicken. That's a great way to mix up chicken. But I also just like using my hands. And so now for these, now I might have said quesadillas, I meant taquitos. These are some delightful chicken taquitos. And so I'm getting my meat measurements right there with my spoon, and I wrap them up tight, and I roll them up tight, and I put them beside one another. And they will bake that way, and they will stay in that shape. I just don't want to pull them too tight to where it rips the tortilla. And so I'm going to fill this whole sheet pan with these chicken taquitos. And again, this is something that you can adapt to fit the needs of your family. If they would not like the salsa verde, you don't have to add that. If they would like more cheese or less cheese, just make it work for you. Alrighty, so I almost have the first pan of these chicken taquitos done. We will get this in the oven. And then I am going to hand the taquito wrapping off to a happy helper. And I'm going to, ooh, that's weird. That one never got baked. Isn't that weird? Look at the little mini one that was found in between the... Okay, well, the rest of these look fine, but we'll just throw these in the chicken bowl. They will not complain, but I think that's odd. Anyway, God bless you, pre-made tortillas, yes. So I'm just filling these. I'm eyeballing the filling amount, and then I'm rolling them as tightly as I can without ripping the tortilla. We will get a couple pans out of this filling. And I have since put on my comfortable shoes and got my little anti-fatigue mat over here. Okay, so this one is going in the oven. Alrighty, so here is our second pan ready to go in the oven. Only because it's early in the day, we can kind of pick up as we go. Alright, so for the beef and bean taquitos, we have our taco meat in here. We have the refried bean. This is just the container that I had stored the taco meat in last night, but we're saving a dish. So let me look here. So we've got our salsa, cheddar cheese. I'm going to also, I won't tell if you won't, I mean we have half a thing of salsa verde left, so I'm going to throw that in also. It'll be good, and I feel like I'm going to get my hands in this again. So if you're following my exact directions in the big batch freezer cooking pack, I just added about 4 more cups of salsa to this, and you can do that. You can tweak it any way that you want. If you want more salsa, if you have some extra beans that are open that you want to add to it. You want more cheese, less cheese. Make it work for you and use what you have. Speaking of cheese, hey. So I'm super thankful for my Mega Mama bowls, and yeah, I have 3 of them, and some days when I get going with these big batch cooking projects, I think that maybe I might need more. But what I am doing now is I'm taking my parchment paper and I'm getting my pans ready. You know, once you get in the quesadilla or taquito, get those workflows going, you just keep it going. And so now I am just getting that beef and bean mixture in these taquitos. And I'll tell you, like now when I'm filming this voiceover, my kids have already been eating these. Like the last 3 days, they have had these for lunches. Not because there's not other things they can have. It's just they love them so much. It's just been beef and bean taquitos and apples. Those have been the hot commodity the last couple days since we did all this cooking, which is great. I just don't think that these particular lunch freezer meals are going to still be in my freezer in 12 weeks. I think within 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to need to do another lunch big batch freezer cooking day, because this is just, you know, so many of their favorite recipes. Now, we don't actually get to the granola. I feel like the last 2 times, a couple years ago, I was going to film granola, and this time I'm not doing the granola either. That's okay. We had done a lot. I was doing granola bars. We done a lot, but I did similar to granola bars in a recent big batch breakfast freezer meals video. So don't worry, maybe in 3 or 4 weeks we'll do them, but I had a lot of help with all this cooking this time. Again, I did not make the Poptarts. I did not make the ham and cheese pockets. I did not make the pepperoni pockets. Those were all my people who look like me who cooked those things. Now, I did all the quesadillas and the taquitos. I believe at some point I hand some of those off to some kiddos to help with that. Alrighty, so for our chicken and cheese quesadillas, and we've got baking pans everywhere doing everything. So I am just going to prepare these on this, and as we flip pans around and we need to get some taquitos wrapped up, I will then be able to move these on to baking pans. But what I'm doing is, we're almost out of our flour tortillas. I like to prepare mama stuff in these low-carb mission wraps. I showed you those yesterday also. I did some of the quesadillas and of those for myself, which I ate 2 and got the rest of the freezer. Now those will be quick and easy lunches for mama. I don't have enough regular tortillas here to also, I just think Travis has to go to Walmart. Will you all agree? Because I've got burritos over here behind us, and those are for the breakfast freezer meals that'll be in another video, and I only have a pack and a half here. And how many of those do we have? Hold on, older kid is finding more. A lot, okay. So, are those, yes, are those new ones that we just got? Anyway, I'm going to prep these on low carb wraps. I have someone searching. We have more tortillas. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Pass it over. and go poke around and see what others you can find. Travis might get saved from the Walmart run, but see, that's another thing why we love this house. It's close to Walmart, which makes us helpful. So I am making this up as I go. Don't get scared because what's happening? Okay, we've got some goats out. We also have goats out going on. I'm not adding a lot of seasonings to these. It's just going to be chicken and cheese. And when we eat them though, you can eat them with salsa, you can eat them with sour cream. I had someone eating taquitos earlier and adding Texas Pete with it. So these will just be the base model quesadillas. I think those fridges downstairs might have more. As I say, in my recipe that comes in this pack, you're sauteing peppers and onions and adding taco seasoning and adding lots of flavor to it. This is just Mama's adaptation right now. And even for these, if you wanted to put a spoonful of beans on there, you certainly could. All kinds of ways you can do your quesadillas and add extra goodies to them. And doing the sheet pan quesadillas, adding the sheet pan to the top to press them down and then give it that nice grilled look is helpful.
And so as I was saying, I'm just working with ingredients that I have on hand to get even more lunch freezer meals in the oven and in the freezer.
Hello inflation, I feel like everything is shrinking. I know that you can get small tortillas and medium and large. I see that with the non-low carb Mission brand and the Great Value brand over there. But for instance, any of you that eat these carb balance wraps, these used to be bigger. Yeah, they used to be like medium size, and they don't differentiate on their packaging the size. And so one wrap looks like it's 3 net carbs. But yeah, there's just, these have shrunk, same price. Low carb Mission wraps might get mad at me, but that's what I'm noticing. What do they call that? Shrinkflation? And also with these quesadillas, you can brush them with butter. I just usually, well this time, I have brushed them with butter before, but this go round I've just been spraying them with a little olive oil from my misto. And then I press the other pan on top. Taquito station going on over here.
All right, so here's our first pan getting ready to go in the oven for the sheet pan chicken and cheese quesadillas. Oh, I need to refill my little olive oil thing. Let me just get a little on there.
Okay, and I need to steal the baking sheet. So I'm taking these taquitos off. They are cooled and need to be wrapped. Making layers here, but now I'm just gonna put this sheet on top. Okay, we're breaking out the pizza pans now to get this done.
And at this point, any size oven pan is going to do to make these quesadillas. Okay, we're gonna refill this now. So this is going in.
Just going to layer these in my Rubbermaid bowl here. Harder to do with these larger tortilla ones. Mamas make stuff work, right? 2 layers of taquitos deep. Well, trying. Okay. Now I will deliver these to the packing station and put more on here.
And so I am continuing with the mama meal prep. I mean, look, if I have a low carb wrap with some chicken and some cheese, and I can have a salad with it or have a little bit of sour cream or hot sauce, I will eat it. So it might take me several weeks or 2 months to work through these, you know, not eating them all day every day, but a couple lunches a week or 2 lunches a week, or however I choose to eat them. But I'm gonna be glad that I did this.
All right, so I have room on my little sheet pan here to do one more quesadilla, and I'm just shoving it with cheese. That's all it will be. But it will be a mama lunch at some point in the near future, and I will not complain. It just needs a little olive oil on there too. And then press down the sheet pan, go in the oven.
And always how it goes in my big batch cooking guide, there is a single large family freezer meal plan available. And with this plan, you won't end up with 30 to 40 big batch size freezer meals. You'll end up with a more sensible amount, about 10 to 15 or so. And there's a smaller freezer meal cook and prep guide. These are a special bonus that are in many of the packs.
But I will say, I have heard from many smaller families and empty nesters and single college students, all kinds of families from various walks of life, and they have cooked up my big batch freezer meals. And what they do, as an example, is instead of 9x13 pans, if we're doing 9x13 pan type recipes, they will get many 8x8 pans, or they will get many more single servings. I had one lady tell me today that she got over 100 meals just for herself by cooking up one of my big batch packs. Obviously, she put it in smaller containers, smaller portions that worked for her. She was super thankful she did not have to do meals for herself for quite a while.
And here's the beautiful homemade Pop-Tart art that continues. I think they used some blackberry jam on some today, but most of these are strawberry. Okay, and then this, hey, can you go turn that timer off for me? Timer's going everywhere. So this is what is left of the beef and bean taquito meat. We are just out of tortillas, and I'm not gonna send Travis, because you know he's my babysitter too. I'm not gonna send them on a second field trip to Walmart today. They've already had one this morning. So what we are gonna do, I'm just gonna label this taco meat, and next time I do tacos, we'll defrost this and I'll add it in, because again, it's beef, it's refried beans, it's some salsas and such. And then we have taquito packing that is going down over here. We'll have to label all of these. I'm just having them do a row and then do another layer of the taquitos, do one row, layer of parchment paper, and another row of taquitos. I'm just gonna get this bowl, washing. These things over there have been hand washed. They're just waiting to be used again. But easy to stay up on dishes when you have 3 helpers, huh? Okay, I'll let them get back to that. So here's the last of the homemade Pop-Tarts going down. Alrighty, so coming on down here to the freezer meal freezer, we shall see what we got done yesterday mainly, and then some more today. So they put all the little Uncrustables here in the door ready to go. So we would just grab an armful of those and put them into the refrigerator to defrost the night before, or even if we're going on a field trip, we can grab a bunch and put them in our cooler and they'll be defrosted by lunchtime. You'll see we still have some of our other freezer meals from other freezer cooking adventures, but this was pretty much only one shelf full of things when we started yesterday. Also, I didn't film this in this video. I think there's 2 pans of these. Additional info on the little protein balls. Once these are truly frozen, then I'll have her take these and put them in a labeled gallon freezer bag. And whenever we need these as well, we'll set them out. They're great cold, and these will be future protein-packed snacks. And I will also link this recipe down in the description below that has tons of variations.